success that I've enjoyed is because of the mentors or the coaches I've had.
Having a mentor.
Find a coach.
Want success? Model the best. What's up, Believe Nation? It's Evan. I believe in you, and this channel is designed to be a part of your daily success routine. So today, let's learn one of the most common rules that successful people follow. Find mentors. Also, if you want to know what Grant Cardone, Dan Locke, Les Brown, and others have to say about confidence and excellence, check out my 254 series, where every day for the next 254 days, I will send you a morning video for free to help you build your confidence. The links to join are in the description below.
After you practice martial art, you develop this natural self-confidence. Not cockiness, but you develop this natural self-confidence.
It's necessary that you hook up with some other energy that can take you to the next level. I hooked up with them. They said, let's go. I said, away we go.
I've been reading a lot of historical fiction, and it might have been in the back of my mind.
My martial art instructor said something to me very profound a few years ago. He said, you know what, as a martial artist, Dan, what determines how good you are and how fast you will progress as a martial artist is not just how many hours you put into your training and what style that you practice. What determines how good you'll become is your sifu, your instructor, and who you learn from. Now, at first, I didn't quite understand. And later, after I studied with him, I trained with him, my martial instructor, I realized, wow, what a profound statement. Because think about in a martial art context, imagine if you want to learn different martial art. You want to learn Krav Maga, you want to learn Taekwondo, you want to learn karate, you want to learn boxing. Whatever style or MMA, whatever style that you decide to choose, your instructor would dictate, would determine how good you are. Your coach, their skill that gets transferred to you, think about that. It's the same in your financial life. Who do you want to learn from? Realize when you learn from somebody, when you listen to their advice, you become them. You get their lifestyle.
I knew I wanted to be successful. I think like in most things, like they show up eventually, but maybe they don't look like the way you thought they'd look when they show up, right? So I was gonna be a baseball player. From the time I was a little boy, I was gonna be a Major League Baseball player.
How young?
Oh, 4 or 5 years old, talking about that, knowing players, studying it, telling people I was gonna be one.
Looking a certain way.
Trying to be athletic, and I'm a little dude naturally, trying to build my body up and build myself up.
Little dude.
Well, I am. I mean,
Look at that.
but I got little wrists, and I don't do Pilates, but like you do. But I do work out. But anyway, and the Pilates looks good on you. You look younger than I do, brother. So, but anyway, I did grow up wanting to be somebody, and then I got a mentor when I was really young. Hall of Fame baseball player named Rod Carew, who most of you out there would probably know, grabbed me when I was a young man and started pouring belief into me.
How young was that?
I was probably 9.
Okay.
He grabbed me, started pouring belief into me.
Why did
he saw me
you?
at a baseball camp, saw that I was a little guy, saw that I had some potential. I kind of swung like him and batted like him. And so I spent the better part of my youth being mentored and coached one-on-one by a Hall of Fame baseball player. And he didn't just pour baseball tools into me, he poured belief. You're going to be somebody someday. You're going to do something great. So I had someone in my ear I respected believing in me from when I was young. I think that helped me.
The first 35, 40 years of my life, I was being held back by what I knew, what I thought was the truth. It wasn't the truth. These people and companies that are buying private jets, that are hooking up with whoever they want, when they want, that are spending millions and millions and millions of dollars on connections and speed and access. Dude, look, what are they doing, man? What are they doing? Okay? They're doing something different than you and I were taught to do. The school systems don't teach you this. Your mama didn't teach you this. Your daddy didn't teach you this. Your family doesn't know this, right? So you got to go outside your circle of influence and look around. You know, 12, 14 million, 6 million, 4 million. It's all over the place. And a little guy right here got the big jet on the tarmac. How's a little guy like me end up making it all the way up the food chain? Because I studied those guys. You can do the same thing if you study hard enough. The right people, not those guys. Those are the pilots. Okay. See, they work for 150 grand a year and think they're cutting a big fat hog in the ass. Oh, I make 175,000, but they stop learning what the owner knows. Okay, study, man. Study. Pay the price for the information, and then pay for for the price of access to the people and learn from them.
What do you say to someone who are saying, oh, nobody around me are believing in me?
And that's okay. If you have that, that's great. If you don't have it, it's okay. I, for years, read books of people who I didn't know, but I considered them as my personal mentors. I studied Winston Churchill, who said, the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but at the end, there it is. I studied Earl Nightingale, who said, all of us get in life what we are, not what we want. All of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. So I studied these people and they mentored to me. I feel their spirits. I surrounded myself in my bed with their books and their audio, in my imagination, and listening to their audio programs. Yes. So how much does the library card cost? It's free in the United States. I don't know what in your country. So I suggest that you spend time working on yourself. Study the high achievers. I did that to find out how did they get there. I studied the life of Frederick Douglass, who said we won't get everything that we fight for, but everything we get, it will be a fight. And so as you study these people and imagine yourself in their position and in your mind's eye, say to yourself, as I did, if they can do it, I can do it. They put their pants on one leg at a time. They breathe air just as I do. And so I believe that what you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. What we think about, we bring about. When you train your mind to serve you by reading a minimum of 20 to 60 pages a day, listening to audio programs, writing goals down, reading them 3 times a day, you're literally creating a new mental blueprint and imagining and seeing yourself already living from the goal. You begin to do some things that most people look at and see as magical.
I'm a big believer in mentorship. One, in terms of face-to-face people that you can go and learn from, and 2, from what I call aspirational mentors, people who've done a lot more than you, who you may never meet, who may have passed on, but you can still learn from their success. It comes from the core understanding that whatever challenge you have in front of you right now, somebody else has already solved it. Whatever big problem you're facing in your life or in your business, somebody has already solved it, and you don't need to come up with every ingenious solution yourself. This is one of the things that saved my first business. One of the 2 most important lessons that I've ever learned in my life was, whenever I don't know what to do, whenever I have a big problem and I don't have the answer, I look for somebody who has already solved it and I try to learn from their lessons. In my first business, I had a software company. I was struggling, making $300 a month, barely able to survive. And I was just trying to come up with all these ideas myself. Like, okay, how about we do this? How about we do this? How about we do this? And nothing was working. And I told my partner I quit, and it was the worst day of my life. And when I woke up the next day, I realized I didn't want to quit. I just couldn't keep going the way I was going. And the light bulb moment was I realized I'm not the first guy to try to sell software before. Maybe our specific kind of software, yes, but in general, other people have figured out how to sell software and make lots of money and target lots of customers. How did they do it? And I looked at Bill Gates and how he got started, and that started the process to me being able to build a real company. And that lesson that I learned at 19 years old has stayed true for the past almost 20 years, where every time I don't know what to do, I look at who can I model. It's why the name of this channel is Modeling the Masters. It's why I try to showcase lots of different successful people from all walks of life, because you can learn from them. I'm learning from them.
See, any success I've had because I've got great mentors. And I'm a good student. Now, until I was 26, I was a terrible student. When I picked up this book, I became a great student. I've got thousands of books. I have an office at home in my home. It's got a couple of thousand books in it, and then I built a studio, and I've got a couple of thousand books in the studio. And I love reading. But the success that I've enjoyed is because of the mentors or the coaches I've had. I would do exactly what they tell me. And if I coach somebody today and they don't do exactly what I tell them, I don't coach them anymore. Just like that, it's all over.
It's not ready.
Well, it's not that only that they're not ready, but if I'm going to coach somebody and they're not doing what I tell them, I'm wasting my time and theirs too. Now, if they want to waste their time, that's their prerogative. I'm not going to waste mine.
Charles and Ray Eames, they were a couple. Charles was the guy, Ray was the woman. And they were big in the 1950s and 60s. What they did changed the way that I kind of perceive the world. And they kind of like course corrected me to what I'm doing today. Bring the best design to the most people for the least price. They dedicated their lives to creating design that would outlast them, right? Even today, long after they've passed away, Charles and Ray Eames and the furniture and the objects they created is considered some of the best design that we've ever seen.
My first semester, I realized that college was a big business, and I was like, they're telling me what classes to take, and I wanted to learn, how do I learn how to invest? How do I learn how to start a business? First semester, people are partying more in college than they were in high school. They're telling me what classes. I was like, this isn't for me. And if I'm going to take a risk, I should take it now.
There is no book in the world or no classroom in the world that will be able to teach you entrepreneurship. Having a mentor and being an apprentice is literally invaluable for you to learn how to actually start your own company and become successful. It was for me. It was for my last apprentice who went on to build a company of over 200 people, selling for $50 million in 3 years, and it is for you.
When and if and when you go to find a coach, make sure that they practice and not just profess.
Not theory, but
They've been there. So I was a personal trainer that worked at Disneyland as a fry cook and as a bouncer at a gay bar because the gay bar paid more because skinheads would come in to gay bash.
Sure.
And so I needed so much money that I was willing to get in fights. I'm not a fighter. I can talk my way out of any fight.
You're a big dude, though.
It's God's gift of intimidation. And then if the talking doesn't work, I can and then I run, right? And so I'm that trainer who then was able to open up 5 gyms, make them successful finally, because until then I was a personal trainer, fry cook, and a bouncer. A client took mercy on me and said, hey man, you're not a closer, you're an order taker. Listen to this Tom Hopkins tape. You didn't close me, you just took my order. And that hurt. Right? And I said, well, you're right. I have two side jobs. People who come to me give me objections. I don't know how to handle the spousal objection, money objection, time objection. So I let them walk. So I just take the people who are like, how much is personal training? I want to buy 10 sessions. Great. Let me take your order.
Right.
And so as my mentor, Jim Franco, gave me that tape, and Tom Hopkins leads to Brian Tracy to Dan Kennedy to Halbert, et cetera. And, and then I start learning personal development, right? The Tony Robbins, and all of a sudden my mind is opened up into my surroundings of the people around me. Who do I need to cut out because they're cancers versus who I need to spend more time with because I need to rise to their level? And all of a sudden I realized, holy cow, man, these are, I've got built-in coaches. As a personal trainer one-on-one, your clients are typically the affluent people, right?
Right.
So I started asking all my clients, in between workouts,
right.
A little business advice here, a little business advice there, and I found that these are people who practice. One guy's got a software company, next guy does automotive company, right? Rental cars, public storage places, and man, it was just the best advice versus taking advice from a family member or friend who goes, I heard it on Shark Tank.
Who's not practicing, who hasn't experienced it.
Yeah. So that's the big thing is to take advice from someone who's been there and done that, and if they're consulting in your industry, but they come from a different industry, I would tread cautiously.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But you think everyone should have a coach?
I believe so.
I think so too.
As athletes, we have coaches, right?
Don't try to do it on your own.
No.
Yeah.
If you've dealt with trauma in your life, whether it's some kind of physical abuse, sexual abuse, whatever, neglect as a kid, you go to a therapist. A good therapist is a coach.
Yes.
Right? You've got personal development coaches like the Tony Robbins, like the Brandon Bouchards. Why not have business coaches? Why not have high performance coaches? If you've got limiting beliefs, why not have someone reset your thermostat that mom and dad had set so low?
Yeah.
Right? Or circumstance of growing up had set so low. We're in it. We can't see the trees.
Yeah.
I look at it as a coach. A good coach is in a helicopter saying, you see a lot of trees, but I know if you go 50 yards that way and then 10 yards that way, you've got an open path.
Be open up, yeah.
That's it.
Right.
That's what a coach does. They buy you time. They buy you speed. They buy you success.
I like to study just the history of business and really excellence. And so learning about, okay, well, it's one thing to know how Google was built or how Facebook was built, but then you can learn a lot by understanding, well, how does a consumer packaged goods company run? Like, how does Swiffer, like, how do you come up with a Swiffer? How do you think about competition there?
Yeah, I've certainly learned the most from studying businesses that are not in the technology industry. And I don't think people ever do enough of that.
And you want to go beyond business too. So how would Phil Jackson, who, with the Bulls, the Lakers, the Knicks, like so many championships, like how do you build a culture on a team like that? How do governments solve big problems?
Now I've got a really special bonus clip from Jamie Foxx on how to study the greats that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing question. It's time to move from just watching another video to taking action in your life or business. And if you're feeling bold, leave your answers in the comments below. Here we go. Question number 1, who are some of your aspirational mentors? Number 2, what have you learned from them? And number 3, who is the next person that you would like to learn from?
Growing up, I always watched the Tom Jones show, or this is way young. This is way before you guys' times, but like watching Johnny Carson or Sammy Davis Jr., some of these old heads who sung, danced, did it all, like Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and those guys. So after you have the natural blessing of the talent, it's seeing how, that's how I put it together. Mm-hmm. So if you're watching Richard Pryor, okay, that's how I put my set together. Or if you're watching Eddie Murphy, that's how you make it a superstar look. Because Eddie was interesting. He was able to do all of that. And for some of the young guys, some of the young millennials out there, I was talking about Eddie Murphy the other day. It was like, ain't that the dude that be in the forest with the animals and stuff? Yeah, that's what they know. I said, but I knew him when he had on the blue leather and he was talking trash, and he made being a comedian like fly. Like nobody did that.
Yeah.
So when you watch Kevin Hart, that's an exact sort of the DNA of what Eddie was.
If you like this video, check out the One Thing at a Time video. The link is right there next to me. I think you really enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Focus more.
You have to have absolute focus.
Getting laser focused on something.